Hey, so welcome everybody. We are at another CST chats with Margarita Krassa. I'm excited about offering an introduction today before we let MK take it away. Let's see, things that you should know. Mom and I are working on aligning our schedules, and so for right now we have agreed from now through the end of May we're going to meet on Mondays at 2 o'clock for these CST chats. So if you're available, we would love to see you in real time, and or if you can't make it in real time, because I know people be working and having their work schedules and or after school schedules, right? Things are busy in the afternoon. Just know that you would likely be able to see the replay in the Facebook group. Also keep in mind with the replay that you can adjust our playback speed. So if we are going a little too slow for you, you are in control of that. You get to curate your digital experience, which means also adjusting playback speeds when you're watching videos. Great. So touching on some of the important parts that we mentioned last time, CranioSacral therapy helps release deep tensions in the body. It helps to alleviate pain and dysfunction by encouraging the body's natural healing mechanisms. This type of therapy helps to improve the functioning of the central nervous system, which you know is kind of like our main control panel. It positively impacts individuals in a variety of ways, often including better sleep, decreased stress levels, and stronger immunity function. It's beneficial for those living with anxiety, depression, confusion, and brain fog. This is Mama, Margarita Krassa, LMBT 10689. Since 2018, she has been immersing herself in skill building and expanding her experiences within this therapeutic work. And she has completed 3 levels from the Upledger Institute Manual Therapy Interventions certification programs. And so this includes the level 1, which is the 7-step protocol. That's kind of like foundational basics. Level 2, which is getting a little bit more into some advanced techniques like hard palate, vectoring, and releasing energy cysts. And then she has recently completed level 3, which includes somato-emotional releases, therapeutic dialogue and imaging, and regional tissue release. She offers craniosacral therapy to individuals of all ages, and she has experience working with the babies, the new babies, all the way up to, our older elders. And she is bilingual, so she can work with people who speak English and Spanish. Quick reminder, her business hours are Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The number available for you on the screen, 919-960-1570. That number is good for both calls and texts within her business hours. You can schedule an appointment with Mom using her Calendly scheduling tool. The link is there available for you, calendly.com/CST by MK. As a general rule, you can schedule appointments on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 2:30, between 2:30 and 7:30. She also has some Friday and Saturdays available. And just in case you're thinking Fridays and Saturdays work better for you than Tuesdays and Wednesdays, keep in mind that her next available days are May 10th and 11th, May 24th and 25th. So those Fridays and Saturdays are just after each other in succession. And then in June, she's got a little bit of a smattering. June 8th, 14th, 22nd, and 28th are going to be your Friday, Saturday dates. Mom is available at 115 East Hardin Street. That's in downtown Graham. You're going to find her in Suite 103. One more important thing that I would like to mention to you is that she is running a spring special from now until mid-June. You can schedule an aroma touch technique session for $15 off the normal price. Margarita was certified by doTERRA in the aroma touch technique in April of 2016. There's a direct connection between your nose and your brain's emotional control center, the limbic system. All our olfactory systems are designed to be the most subtle yet effective means to include specific and distinctive responses. because of our connection, because of our connection with smell to the limbic system, aromas can impact our mood, our memory, our emotions, our stress levels. This is one of the reasons why essential oils are so powerful at influencing our well-being. And this is why the aroma touch technique session can be so powerful for individuals. Let's see. One of the most important things about what mom offers is, or what she offers on her booking page is a introductory call. This is a free 15 minutes where you have an opportunity to connect with her and ask her questions. And this is actually a really important session type that she offers because it often will help. If people take advantage of this intro call, it will help expedite their first session with her. And mom's gonna join us here. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and mom's gonna join us here in just a bit to kind of talk through what her experience has been with these intro calls and what you might be able to expect and how it can positively impact your first session with her. Hi, Mom. You look beautiful today. I also like the fact that in our own way, we are color coordinating.
Yes, we are. Thank you for going over my schedule. You even covered May and I believe June. So that was, I did appreciate that.
Of course, I want people to be forward thinking and making sure they're taking time to book their wellness.
Right. So intro calls. Intro calls were conceived out of the situation that organically occurred when I was still working at a wellness center and was encountering up to 20 and even 30 minutes of explaining to people what their craniosacral system is, what their craniosacral rhythm is, and what parts of the anatomy that encompasses, how it functions, so the physiology of it, and then questions about what it helps. I get a lot of those questions. So there's a lot of preliminary information that goes forward with that conversation, and it can be lengthy, and it is lengthy because people are interested in finding out what's about to happen to them before they get on the table. Most people don't understand or realize really that first of all, you don't have to undress. And that's a major plus for many people. Many people don't feel comfortable receiving massage because of the fact that they do have to undress. They don't feel comfortable being touched skin to skin. So this eliminates all of that. This is a modality, a treatment that is very specifically about the person's specific structures that are deep in the body that are, as you said earlier, connected to everything. That's why I think people are so surprised when we go over what it helps. It can help almost everything, or many things. We shouldn't say everything, but many things, because the brain and the spinal cord, two of the structures that encompass the craniosacral system, are core structures.
Yeah.
The core structures in the human body. The brain controls the body. The spine is connected to everything in the body through the autonomic nervous system. When the spine enters into the cranial vault, as soon as it enters, it starts to morph into the brain. So, there could be an argument for that they're almost kind of sort of one structure before they really become two.
Right.
So it's a big deal. I tell people, think of it at the center, the core, think of it as the engines. I think you used a different word, which was a good one as well.
Oh, I think I said control panel.
There you go. Yeah, you did. That was good. Well, control. I like that
Right.
because it does. It everything touches it. So again, the symptoms that you experience in your body can be alleviated. Of course, any discomfort or any illness or any disease, different types of symptoms that come from anything that's not working properly. So dysfunction in the body can be traced back to not having a properly functioning craniosacral system. So it does help a lot of things. A lot of the questions I get are about, again, as I mentioned and just said, the craniosacral system, the rhythm, how it works, what parts of the anatomy it encompasses, but then also, hey, what am I going to experience on the table? We already went over the fact that there's no undressing that's necessary. I do ask people, of course, to remove their footwear so that we're not, making a mess on the sheets, but it's a small thing and people feel comfortable with that. Some people prefer to leave their socks on. Some people prefer to take their socks off, and either one is fine. On my end, that is, as a therapist, either one is fine with me. I don't have a preference for either or. The person is on the table on their back during the service, during this treatment, and the work itself is more about holding the body as far as touch is concerned than it is any type of obviously muscular manipulation, right? So some people I've heard and have said used the word massage simultaneously with craniosacral therapy, and that is very inaccurate because massage is very specifically, the intention is to manipulate musculature, and we are not manipulating musculature. We are simply holding the body with intention to affect the areas that are being held or touched. It is a very light touch treatment therapy. It is actually by the Upledger Institute standard, which is the institute that I went to get my training in. They have a rule of thumb. The rule of thumb is the 5 grams or less of pressure. So you could imagine that you would actually can take a nickel and put it on the end of your index finger. So you would hold the nickel at the end of the finger, and that's how much pressure you need to use.
What a fun example.
It's very light pressure. Yeah, very light pressure.
Okay.
So almost really no pressure.
Right.
Because it's just not it's not a treatment. It's not a therapy that needs pressure to work. So a lot of people will ask questions. Again, the intro call, or which is taking place of these lengthy intake times, is for a person to get an idea of, hey, what do I expect on the table? On the table, just like with massage, I would make the client comfortable. So we are looking at temperature, right? Do you want heat on the table? Do you want not to have heat on the table? Some people like heat and a blanket. So they get heat under their bodies and then they prefer to have a blanket on top, and that's perfectly fine. We all very unique and experience our sensory perceptions are very unique in the way that we handle even the temperature in the room, temperature on the table.
Sometimes when people stop and slow down, their body gives them more information. So if they were sitting up and talking with you, they might not even register how their body was feeling about the temperature, but it's when they lay down and get quiet and get focused, that's when, and I know that happens to me sometimes too. It's like when I am running my mouth or doing or connecting with somebody if I'm in action state.
Mhm.
I'm pretty much generally, unless I'm really hot or really cold, I'm not paying attention. But the minute I slow down and get on the table, it's like my awareness for like all things is just expanded. And I'm usually a blanket person, right? Like you usually
Well, well, we are when we are in movement, when we are in motion, we do tend to be generating a little bit of heat, some of us more than others, even with
right,
movement. But yes,
right.
some of us actually can generate quite a bit of heat during movement and motion in the body. So again, we're so unique. So yeah, it's different. And the same thing like with what I mentioned earlier about socks and feet.
Right, right.
For some people, they're like, oh no, my feet get so cold or they stay cold and I'd rather leave my socks on. And then for others, it's the opposite. They love going barefooted. They love wearing sandals. They even do it in this, even in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And, they don't like covering their feet. So
Right.
we're just all very unique. So it's,
Mm-hmm.
it's all good. And, again, that's just something that's very important. And the reason the comfort is important, and we just went into a long, lengthy description about temperature, but there are other things, other
Yeah.
factors, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, you're on a massage table. I do have extra cushion underneath, so I have an
Mm-hmm.
extra layer of a mattress cushion under the client to keep them comfortable. If they need a pillow, if we do use a bolster, which is just a long, slender pillow that sits underneath their knees. And we always check for placement. Some people like it directly below the knee or behind the knees. Some people prefer it a little higher toward the hips. Some people like it a little lower, but toward the ankles. Again, everybody's unique.
Yeah.
And for me, some people don't like pressure right beneath their knees. And that is actually a tender point for people. And I don't particularly like feeling anything right below my knees. That actually can be a little irritating. So all of these things are considered. And the reason for that is comfort on the table, just like when I am addressing or would have addressed a massage client, um, is comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort leads to relaxing. If you sit
Mm-hmm.
in an uncomfortable chair, you will notice a person continue to fidget and switch their legs and cross their legs and uncross their legs and switch their hips from right to left or tilt side to side. All of that is indicators that the person is not comfortable and they're trying to find a comfortable position.
Right.
So that is not, that's something that is very much, I don't know, just a very focused area of we need to make sure we take care of that right from the beginning. And I even
Mm-hmm.
reassure clients, even if we place the bolster somewhere where you feel sensorily speaking, like you said, Jen, earlier about laying down and stopping movement, right, with your body. For
Right.
some people, I'll place it and they'll be like, fine. And then 5 minutes later, they're like, oh no, this is starting to bother me. That's
Right.
fine. Let's move it. Let's get it out. Let's get that bothersome feeling out of the way, because what we want with the sessions is for the client to feel so completely comfortable they can just sort of meld into the table.
Yeah. Yeah. And what my takeaway from that, what you just mentioned is also that in that introductory moment of getting on taking off your shoes, getting on the table, getting comfortable, figuring out if you want heat, figuring out if you want a blanket, figuring out if you want a bolster. At any time during the session, if their comfort level changes, all they have to do is connect with you and say something, right? Like they don't have to
Almost
lay
definitely.
there in this like mental, like, I'm uncomfortable, but I don't want to say anything. Like,
No, that is not, yes, that
right.
I
I
try to
think you would,
reassure. And I know, and people, and they, yeah, clients don't want to bother
right,
the therapist. And I'm always reassuring clients, please bother me because you're
right.
really not bothering me. I'm there to take care of you. I am there to take care of the needs of the client. And even that is something people are not used to. They're
Right.
not used to being taken care of. They're not used to being the ones to just chill and relax and let someone else
Yeah.
take care of them. So even that is something that I need to remind clients to do. After we do get everything in place for comfort, then the next step is we do a quick evaluation. It takes a minute to a minute and a half, and I check their listening stations. And that would be the dorsum of the feet or the top of the feet, the
Mhm.
knees, the hips, the rib cage, the shoulders, and then each side of the head or the skull,
Mhm.
the cranium. And so it is, 6 places, and it's very quick. I only hold each area for a couple of seconds. And what I'm judging is I'm actually palpating their rhythm, the rhythm of flexion and extension in their craniosacral system. And
Mhm.
then that gives me information about how their rhythm is flexing and extending. So we're
Right.
checking 4 qualities of that rhythm. We're checking the symmetry between the right and the left side of the body. We're checking for the quality of the movement. We're checking for the amplitude, which means how far is it going into flexion, how far is it going into extension, and then we're also checking for the rate or the speed of the rhythm. Is it going too
Mhm.
fast, too slow, or at the right pace? And those qualities of the rhythm is what gives me, again, this evaluation takes a minute to a minute and a half, so it's very quick. It gives me information about where there are blockages or restrictions in the person's craniosacral rhythm.
And having a conversation like this ahead of time in this intro call kind of helps you cut straight to the point when they arrive for their session, whether they do a 30 or 60 or a 90. It's like this 15 minutes of, hey, here's what you can expect, here's what's going to happen, let me answer any of your questions. They're not spending, or I should say investing, that 15 minutes in their curiosity. That 15 minutes is in their session where they're actually getting therapeutic benefit. So this 15-minute intro call that they can schedule is basically you giving them a gift of like, hey, get your questions answered ahead of time. That way, as much of your session can be used in therapeutic benefit.
Oh, most definitely. We want to use every minute, every second of every minute receiving it. So it is a receiving the therapy, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're purchasing, and that's what where their money's going is for the therapy. So
Right.
if we can take care of, like you said, everything ahead of time as best to them. And I'm not saying, people don't walk in and there isn't a little intake time. And intake
Right.
time is fine before a
Right.
session. It's just not okay when it's 20 to 30 minutes before
Right.
a session, because then we're eating up. Maybe if they scheduled a 60-minute, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at losing they only have 40 to 30 minutes left of actual therapy time. And that's
Right.
what we're trying to avoid.
Absolutely.
We want them to really get therapeutic time.
Right. And the reason why we're having this conversation, the reason why we feel like it's important to highlight this 15-minute call is because you offering that example, 20 to 30 minutes of chat time, is not figurative and it's not theoretical. Like, that has actually happened. People have booked sessions with you, and then 20 to 30 minutes is spent in chatting. And so they're getting less time in focused therapy. And I'm not trying to belittle somebody's curiosity, right? That's important in a way that is therapeutic for them. They have the answers, they have the confidence now to get on the table and to receive, right? Because like you said, that is a really important element, is that you are in a receiving state for all the good things that are going to be unlocked, unstuck in your body. But um what your heartbeat is that they have more therapeutic time, less chat time. And so here, take this free call. Take this
Right. And it
call.
is, it's free. So it's, I mean, yes, we do have to set time aside to do it, but
Yeah.
it's done outside of our therapeutic space.
Yeah.
And so there is no pressure about getting trying to get the client on the table as quickly as possible.
Right.
Right. And I'm still trying to manage their questions and trying to manage descriptions and explanations and anatomy and physiology and then get them on the table. And it becomes a bit, it's tension filled. We want to eliminate all that, right? We want to be able to just see them and have them receive a good session of therapeutic work.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Is there anything else that you would like to highlight about the intro call, or do you feel like we've provided a good, you know,
Well,
summing up?
I highlighted mainly, I think the two biggest things were, again, what is craniosacral therapy? Number one. Number two, what do I expect being on the table?
Mhm.
Um, those were the two main things, but I get other questions. I get questions about different pathologies. Will this help this situation, that
Mhm.
situation in my body?
Mhm.
And sometimes so it leads us into the 2030 is because
Right.
people want to hear more about how the body works, right? The
Oh
physiology
yeah.
of the body. And then we start talking about cellular. We get down into almost cellular discussions and it's just time consuming. But anyway, so yeah, so there's a lot of different things, like I said, and that's again why we have this intro call to cover everything that the client wants to cover before they actually come to a session.
That makes sense. How about in one of our next CST chats, maybe we can get into a little bit more of the types of questions when it comes to pathology or whatever, and we can make sure that we're just touching on maybe some of the questions that you have already answered, and that might help other people feel more confident about booking some time with you. So at
Okay.
this point, we're going to go ahead and end the live stream. You guys, thank you so much for being with us today. In the chats, like if you're catching the replay here, you'll see in the comments, I've left a link to book a free 15-minute call. And keep in mind, even if you book the call, that doesn't mean you're going to immediately book a session, right? Mom understands that you might need time to marinate on the information that she has shared. So use this opportunity to get your questions answered. The other link that I've left for you is the spring special for the Aroma Touch technique session. At the moment, if you go to Mom's general booking page, you're not going to see the special at the special price. Okay. We have maintained that specifically just for the clients that Mom has already worked with. And of course, here our Facebook group for a limited number of time. We just wanted to make sure that you got the goods first. And then we're going to be extending it for the public view here soon. So because it's a special link, I dropped it in the comments. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being a part of our wellness journey and experiences and learning and all that great stuff. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week.
Bye.